first will do it. In the name of the one God, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Interesting gospel today. When I first read through it, many of you know, some of you do not know, I'm a retired union electrician. I emphasize the word union. Because the unions in the AFL-CIO would have a lot of heartburn with this gospel. So that was interesting. And then I thought about a lot of the immigrant laborers that I've seen so often, pretty much up in Freehold, Townsburg. They have a meeting place every morning. Outside of St. Vincent and Delran is a meeting place, looking for daily work. But that is not what this gospel is all about. So, how long have you been a member of this parish? Are you a first-timer? Look around. How long do you think those sitting near you have been members of this parish? Somewhere in the crowd is someone who's been here the longest. I for one have been here since Moses led the people out of Egypt. A long, long time. And someone sitting out here has been a member for just a little while, or is new. The shortest amount of time. And we are a small church. And we know these people almost instinctively. Little trade secret, Mother Mantell and I sit up here, and we count. I said to her, where the heck is everybody? And we also very, very, very much every Sunday take note to new faces, which makes our hearts very happy. Now, do you think those who have been members the longest should have all the benefits of this parish? Should they have, at the drop of a dime, more access to pastoral care to the clergy of this parish? How about this? More influence with the vestry. I want to get my program approved. Here's a better one. You think those who have been here the longest should be first in line at a potluck supper or a coffee hour. Now, I hope many of you have, at different times, that have come up to me and said, Deacon Tom, get in line. I usually do not. I'm a firm believer that the clergy should be the last to eat at any function. But I think that's more so from being an old retired first sergeant that always ate last so his troops would have enough food. But I think that's where clergy belong also. Now these may seem like absurd questions. But what if they were not? Wouldn't that cause us to understand better the sense of the outrage expressed by the longer-serving laborers in today's gospel story who saw their treatment as a matter of unfairness? Can we fail to feel sympathy for those who work the hardest and the longest, have more sweat off their brow? These hired hands labored harder and longer, and they got the same pay. How can we not feel a painful sense that injustice has taken place? Living in the community, we inevitably have experiences that allow us to identify with the workers in today's gospel story. Even if the situations were not as serious as economic and social justice. We may well remember parents who gave up a great deal of time and energy coaching youth in sports leagues, teaching Sunday school, leading people in scout camps, helping children, people that give their time to make the baskets for our mistletoe market, and leaders of the mistletoe market. And other people that step forward, take leadership positions in our Sunday schools. children and other able parents, who did not volunteer to do their fair share. My oldest son, Tom, I usually don't pick on my family, but I'm really picking on him at this point. He's very active in the Egg Harbor Township PAL youth football. My little guy, he's number 24, and he plays football. And Tom is out there. He works diligently in the snack stand and everything. However, you can buy your way out of it, because you know it. Apparently, you can give the youth organization X amount of dollars, and you don't have to work hard. How many of us with siblings can recall growing up with feelings we had to do more than the others in the family? How many firstborns eventually complain that their parents let younger brothers and sisters have more liberty than they had at the same age? That's a pretty common one. Isn't it true that one of the first things we learn in life is to develop a view of what seems fair and what does not? But as mature Christians, one of the first things we learn from today's gospel reading is that Jesus didn't care much about fairness or unfairness. He did not care about fairness or unfairness, especially in the way we tend to think about it. He was not concerned about the ethics of business or labor management relations or who got to what place first. Through the story in today's gospel, Jesus turns our normal life, our normal views upside down, shaking them out so we can more clearly see the truth of God's values. He challenges our religious assumptions, affirming a radical understanding of God and our relationship with God that upsets our conventional theological views and the tenets of popular psychology. Jesus succeeds in shocking us out of our common misunderstandings of God by affirming a deeper insight into the character and purposes of God. He wants to shake us out of our usual self-understanding by opening us to a deeper awareness of ourselves and to transform us more into the image of God. Jesus wants us to experience this parable as a way to learn what lies beyond viewing the events as simply unfair or fair, and to catch a glimpse of the utter limitless generosity of God. He wants us to understand that the worth of human beings is not measured by how much we earn and pay or how well we perform, or by any of our usual measures of life. Status, popularity, social achievement, productivity, wealth, or physical appearance. Jesus wants us to know that our worth as human beings is absolutely affirmed by God, who guarantees our value as human beings, not because of anything we have done or can do, but because of God's creative and life-affirming love for us. Jesus wants us to know that in the face of our limited worldly understanding of what is fair and what is unfair, God works with a different reality, in a different direction, and by different standards. God gives us chances to realize our potential, each in our unique way, restricted, of course, by our own limitations, but empowered by our individual talents and gifts. Like I said, I've been here a long time. And I can look out, look at all of you. I know all of you. I know your talents. I know your gifts. I think I know your wants and needs of the past. And you're absolutely wonderful. Jesus wants us to know the overwhelming reality of God's gifts, of God's love to this world. Jesus especially Jesus wants us to recognize the power and presence of God in the life of each and every one of us. Each and every one of us. Jesus wants us to know that God calls us to respond positively to what He has given us. He wants us to work in His vineyard with happy hearts and willing bodies. Now, I'll share this. I got the happiest heart going. I don't know about the willing body right now, but I do have the happiest heart going. He wants us to be a part of the harvest. He wants us to be a part reaping the blueberries of this earth. The blueberries of the people. Jesus wants us to know that working and serving in God's world is a great privilege and an opportunity. The reward for our service is the joy of knowing that we are part of a great adventure that gives meaning to our lives. Earlier today, prior to the 8 o'clock service, I was having a wonderful conversation with Mother Mary Child. I won't go into the ins and outs of that conversation, but I walked out of the door smiling and laughing. I said, you know, Madre, I said, being assigned to this parish, it's not just a job, it's an adventure. So you can tell we had quite a conversation. The reward for our service is the joy of knowing that we are part of the adventure. In telling this parable of the laborers in the vineyard, the ones who work different amounts for the same pay, Jesus wants us to know that God would have us concentrate on our own spiritual condition. Our own spiritual condition. Not spending time and energy considering everybody else's spiritual condition. Our own spiritual. And to accept our ultimate worth and our ultimate purpose without comparing our contributions to those of others. Today we have heard Jesus turn one of our normal, worldly views upside down. And in so doing, according to our faith, He actually places those values right side up. Today's parable teaches that life is from God's point of view. Not a matter of fairness or unfairness. It's not a matter of deserving or undeserving. Through today's parable, Jesus reminds us that whatever we have is, after all, a gift from God. Whatever we have is more than we deserve. God is overwhelmingly generous. It is enough that we have the profound privilege of laboring and serving